The studio was already on edge, cameras rolling, tension so thick you could feel it through the screen. And then, out of nowhere, Michelle walked in holding a stack of screenshots, printed messages, and what looked like proof that Kirk Frost had been lying not just to Rasheeda, but to Jasmine too. The room froze. Producers stopped whispering. Even the sound techs looked up. Everyone knew something explosive was about to drop. "I told y'all, I wasn't crazy," Michelle said, voice sharp, her eyes locked on Kirk. "You been running the same game on both of them? And now I got the receipts." Rasheeda, sitting across from Kirk, crossed her arms slowly. Her face didn't move, but her eyes said everything. Jasmine, who'd been quiet the whole taping, started shifting in her seat. She already knew she'd been dragged into something big. But this was different. Michelle slapped the first page down on the table. It was a photo. Kirk in a car, the same day he claimed to be at a studio session. Next to him was a woman neither Rasheeda nor Jasmine recognized. The audience gasped. The hosts tried to hold the show together, but it was too late. This wasn't a segment anymore, it was war. "So that's your business meeting," Rasheeda said, voice cracking, but steady enough to sting. "You really had me defending you on live TV while you were out here doing this." Kirk's mouth opened, but nothing came out. Jasmine's hands went straight to her phone. "Nah, I'm not going down for this," she said, pulling up her own messages. "He told me y'all were separated. He told me she knew." Michelle cut in again, louder this time, almost laughing. "And that's the lie number 2. Baby, he been telling both y'all the same bedtime story." The fans watching the live taping started flooding social media instantly. Clips went viral within minutes. Michelle ended Kirk's career. One post read, "Rasheeda deserves better," said another. The internet couldn't keep up. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all filled with screenshots, theories, and hashtags like hashtag KMIC, hell receipts and hashtag RASHEEDA, walks out. As the tension climbed, Rasheeda stood up. She didn't yell. She didn't throw anything. She just looked at Kirk calm, almost a command, said, "You embarrassed me for the last time." Then she walked straight off set, heels clicking, leaving behind an entire production scrambling to follow her. The camera cut to Kirk, still frozen. Jasmine looked torn between anger and disbelief. And Michelle. She leaned back in her chair, sipping her water like she'd been waiting for this moment her whole life. "I told y'all," she said quietly, almost smiling. "Truth always comes to light." And that's where the chaos began. What started as a regular reunion taping turned into one of the most explosive on-air moments in love and hip-hop history. Fans still can't decide who to believe, but one thing's certain. The Frost Empire will never be the same again. Under the blazing studio lights, the air was thick with tension. Everyone's eyes darted between Michelle, Kirk, and Rasheeda as the receipts lay scattered across the table like broken glass. No one dared to move. The host tried to regain control, but it was useless. This wasn't just a scandal. It was a full-blown unraveling of secrets that had been buried for years. Michelle leaned forward, her voice calm but cutting through the silence like a blade. "You've been lying for so long you probably don't even remember what the truth sounds like, Kirk," she said. Her tone wasn't loud, but it carried power, the kind that made everyone freeze. Kirk rubbed his face, muttering something under his breath, but the mic caught it all. "Man, you don't know what you talking about." Rasheeda tilted her head, eyes narrowing. "Oh really? So these screenshots of you telling Jasmine you love her last month, those fake too," she said, sliding her phone across the table. The screen glowed bright under the studio lights, and there it was. Kirk's name, his words, his little heart emoji. The crowd watching from the monitors gasped in unison. Michelle chuckled, clapping her hands once. "And there it is, ladies and gentlemen, the same old Kirk Frost." Jasmine's voice trembled as she spoke. "He told me you two were done, Rasheeda. He said he was free, that y'all were only together for TV." Her eyes flickered with guilt. "I didn't want to be the problem, I really didn't." Rasheeda didn't look at her. She just kept staring at Kirk. "So this what we doing now? You out here telling strangers about our marriage for sympathy points?" Kirk threw his hands up. "Man, that's not what happened." She twisting everything. But Michelle wasn't letting him off easy. She leaned closer, tapping one of the printed receipts. "Then explain this Cash App, Kirk. Explain why you sending Jasmine money labeled for baby things." 2 weeks ago when you claimed y'all hadn't spoken in months, the audience gasped again. Jasmine buried her face in her hands. "He said it was to help me out. He said Rasheeda didn't need to know." Rasheeda let out a bitter laugh, standing up slowly. "You really think I wouldn't find out? You really think you could keep lying forever?" she said. Kirk's eyes followed her, panic flashing across his face. It's not what it looks like, he shouted. Michelle's voice rose above the chaos. Then what is it, Kirk? What's the story this time? Because every time you get caught, it's always not what it looks like. The host tried to step in, but nobody was listening anymore. Rasheeda turned toward Jasmine, her voice cold but steady. You knew he was married. You knew what this would do. Jasmine looked up, tears in her eyes. I believed him. He said y'all were finished. He said he wanted to start fresh. Rasheeda's lip trembled for just a second before she caught herself. He'd been telling women that same story since before we had kids. And you believed it because you wanted to. The crowd murmured. The camera zoomed in on Kirk's face, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. He reached for Rasheeda's hand, but she pulled away. Don't touch me, she said sharply. Michelle smirked, shaking her head. And you wonder why I keep my distance from y'all Atlanta couples. Every time there's a lie, it's got Kirk's name somewhere in it. Producers were whispering frantically through their earpieces. One of them gestured to the camera crew to keep rolling. This was pure golden-filtered drama that no script could ever match. Kirk suddenly stood, slamming his palm against the table. Y'all trying to make me look like some monster. But none of y'all know what's really going on behind closed doors. Rasheeda's voice was soft now, almost a whisper. I know enough, she said. I know you had choices, and every time you chose the lie. The silence after that was heavy. Michelle picked up another receipt, her nails tapping the paper rhythmically. You want to talk about choices? Here's one for you, Kirk Ether. Start telling the truth, or watch every woman in your life walk away tonight. The audience erupted in applause and gasps. Kirk sat back down, his eyes darting between them, breathing hard. You don't understand, he muttered. Jasmine finally spoke again, her voice cracking. I thought you loved me. I thought everything you said was real. He turned to her, looking desperate. I did care about you. Rasheeda interrupted him. Don't finish that sentence. Just don't. The host, still trying to maintain control, spoke up. We're live. People, we need to, but Michelle cut her off. No, let it play out. People need to see this for what it is. This is what happens when lies finally catch up. As the music played softly in the background, fans watching from home started flooding social media again. Clips from the confrontation began trending within minutes. Michelle, exposing Kirk on national TV. I'm living for this. One fan wrote. Another said, Rasheeda deserves an award for keeping her composure. Others weren't so kind, calling Jasmine the new villain of love and hip-hop. Rasheeda finally sat back down, her face blank. You said you changed, she said quietly. You said you grew. Kirk tried to speak, but she cut him off again. You ain't changed. You just got better at hiding it. Michelle looked around, realizing the weight of what had just happened. You know what's crazy? She said. This ain't even all of it. There's more. Kirk's eyes widened. What you mean more? He asked, voice shaking slightly. She smiled, slow and deliberate. Let's just say somebody sent me a few voice notes you might want to hear. The audience lost it, gasps, screams, and phones recording every second. Rasheeda leaned forward, her expression unreadable. Play them, she said. Kirk shouted. No, that ain't fair. That's private. But it was too late. The producer gave the nod, and the sound engineer played the first clip over the speakers. Kirk's voice echoed through the studio. I can't keep doing this with her. She's only in it for the cameras. You the one I really want. You know that. The look on Rasheeda's face was pure disbelief mixed with heartbreak. Jasmine froze. Michelle just sat back, watching everything unfold. Kirk tried to defend himself, stammering, that was old. That was before, but Rasheeda didn't let him finish. Before what? Before you lied again. Before you dragged me through more public humiliation. As the clip ended, the studio went silent again. The only sound was Rasheeda's steady breathing. Michelle whispered, and that's only the first one. Kirk looked around helplessly. Jasmine stood up suddenly, shaking her head. I can't do this, she said, storming off set. Producers tried to follow her, but she waved them away. Rasheeda turned toward Kirk one last time. You broke everything we built, she said softly. And you did it with no shame. Kirk reached for her, but she stood up and walked off in the same direction Jasmine had gone. The audience gave a standing reaction, not applause, but shock, disbelief, and whispers spreading like wildfire. Michelle stood up, brushing off her dress. Well, she said to the camera. Guess that's what happens when truth walks in the room. The host tried to regain order, but the moment was gone. The truth was out, and the fallout had only just begun. Outside the studio, cameras followed Rasheeda as she stepped into her car, her phone buzzing non-stop. Social media was exploding. Fans, friends, and even celebrities were weighing in. Hashtags like hashtag KMIC, Hell exposes Kirk, and hashtag RASHEEDA walks trended for hours. Inside, Kirk sat alone, staring at the empty chair where Rasheeda had been. The producer approached him quietly. "You want to say anything before we cut?" Kirk just shook his head, whispering, "Nah, what's left to say?" The scene faded out, but the story was far from over. What K. Michelle hinted at, those other receipts were already circulating online. And everyone knew this was just the beginning of something bigger. Backstage was chaos. Producers were pacing, phones ringing, assistants whispering updates about the trending hashtags. K. Michelle stood near the dressing rooms, arms folded, watching everything unfold on her phone screen. Her video clip exposing Kirk was already everywhere, millions of views in less than an hour. Fans were dissecting every word, every look, every tear. She took a deep breath, shaking her head. "I told them this was gonna happen," she said quietly to herself. Rasheeda's team had locked her dressing room door. From inside, muffled voices argued, her best friend, her makeup artist, her manager. "You can't just leave the show, Ra," one of them pleaded. "You gotta control the story before they control it for you." Rasheeda sat in the corner, her phone on silent, scrolling through a flood of comments. Half the internet was on her side, calling her the Queen of Strength. The other half was dragging Kirk through the mud. Her eyes were red but dry. "Let them talk," she said finally. "Truth already out there. I don't need to say a word." Meanwhile, Kirk was still in the studio, surrounded by cameras that refused to turn off. His face was pale, voice low. "They trying to make me look like I'm evil," he muttered to the producer. "You think I ain't got feelings too?" The producer didn't respond. Kirk grabbed his phone, scrolling fast until he stopped at Jasmine's name. He called once. No answer. Twice. No answer. Then a text popped up instead. "Don't call me again." "We done?" Kirk stared at the screen, breathing hard. K. Michelle appeared behind him, smirking. "Well, you wanted to play both sides." Now both sides walked away. Kirk glared at her. "You think this funny?" She shrugged. "Nah, I think it's predictable. You've been lying so long, you forgot who you told what." She turned to leave, but he stood up fast. "You don't know everything, K. You just think you do." She spun back, eyes sharp. "Oh, I know enough. I know you said Rasheeda was using you for clout. I know you told Jasmine she was the real one. I know you sent money to 3 different women in the last 6 months. Kirk blinked, stunned. "How you know that?" She smiled faintly. "A little birdie. Or maybe your receipts just ain't as private as you thought." In another corner of the building, Jasmine was crying in the hallway. Her phone kept lighting up, friends, bloggers, even her mother calling to ask what was happening. Her stylist tried to calm her down. "You gotta tell your side, Jasmine. Don't let them make you the villain." Jasmine wiped her tears and said, "I didn't mean for any of this. I just believed him. He said they were done. He said he was lonely. I thought he wanted me." She paused, voice breaking. "Now everyone think I ruined a marriage." The stylist sighed. "You didn't ruin it, baby. It was already cracked. You just didn't know." Jasmine stared into the mirror. Her reflection looked like someone she didn't recognize, swollen, lips trembling, makeup smeared. "Maybe I deserve it," she whispered. "I knew better." Back on the main stage, the crew began cleaning up. One assistant picked up the receipts K. Michelle had dropped earlier. A few pages caught her eye, printouts that hadn't been shown on air. She hesitated, then slipped them into a folder and handed them to the producer. "These were left behind," she said. The producer opened them and froze. The papers showed bank transfers, emails, and one message that read, "Delete everything before she sees it." Within an hour, the documents were online. Gossip blogs exploded. One headline read, "K. Michelle's receipts reveal secret payments, Kirk caught again." Another said, "Fans demand MTV suspension after scandal." The internet became a battlefield of opinions, memes, and wild theories. Some claimed the entire scene was staged. Others swore it was realer than reality itself. Rasheeda finally emerged from her room, wearing sunglasses in silence. Cameras followed as she walked to her car. A reporter shouted, "Rasheeda, are you leaving Kirk?" She paused for half a second, then kept walking. "No," answered just the quiet click of her heels echoing down the hallway. Inside, Kirk was pacing now. "They twisting everything. Man, they making me look like a monster." His voice cracked mid-sentence. The producer looked up from his phone. "Maybe it's time to own up," he said flatly. Kirk froze. "What you mean own up?" "I mean stop acting like the victim. People might forgive a mistake, but they won't forgive arrogance." Kirk stared, eyes distant. You think I can fix this? The producer shrugged. You can't fix what's already burned. But you can stop throwing gasoline. Hours later, outside the building, paparazzi surrounded Kay. Michelle's car. Why'd you do it, Kay? Someone yelled. She smiled faintly. Because truth don't care about timing. She slipped into the back seat and shut the door, the flashbulbs bouncing off the tinted glass. Her phone buzzed again, a text from a private number. It read, "You just made enemies you don't even know about." She looked at it, smirked and replied, "Good, that means they scared." Meanwhile, Jasmine sat alone in her apartment, the city lights flickering through the window. She was scrolling through the same comments she swore she wouldn't read. "You homewrecker," one said. "He played you," said another. But buried deep in the feed was one message that made her pause. "Don't let them rewrite your story. Tell the truth." She stared at it, tears filling her eyes again. Maybe it was time to speak. Maybe she'd been silent too long. The next morning, Atlanta woke up to chaos. Every radio show, every gossip site, every breakfast podcast was talking about the same thing. K. Michelle exposes Kirk Frost. Rasheeda walks out. Jasmine breaks down the headlines stretched across every feed. Kirk's businesses were bombarded with comments. Frost Bistro's reviews tanked overnight. Fans were even tagging the MTV producers, demanding answers. In a small corner of the internet, a leaked clip surfaced. It wasn't aired on TV. It showed Kirk backstage, angrily yelling into his phone. "You said you deleted those. You said no one would find out." A voice on the other end mumbled something. Kirk shouted again. "Well, they found it now. I'm finished because of you." Fans dissected every frame, every syllable. Some claimed it proved he'd been hiding more. Others believed it was damage control gone wrong. Rasheeda, meanwhile, posted nothing. No tweets, no stories, no captions. Silence. But silence speaks loud in Atlanta. Her followers multiplied by the hour. People flooded her last post with hearts and messages of support. "Stay strong, Queen. You deserve peace. We riding with you." K. Michelle posted something different. A single black screen with white text. "Sometimes you gotta burn the bridge just to make sure no one crosses back." It got 500,000 likes in 3 hours. Fans called her the hero of the season. Others called her messy. Either way, everyone was watching. By sunset, Kirk called Rasheeda again. No answer. He texted, "I messed up. Please, can we talk?" The message stayed undelivered for hours. He sat alone in his living room, the TV replaying clips of his own downfall. The same words he once said to others now haunted him. "I can fix it." But this time, there was nothing left to fix. And then, as the city went quiet, a new post appeared from an anonymous account. A voice note, Kirk's voice. And what he said in that clip would take the scandal from bad to unstoppable. The leaked voice note hit the internet like a bomb. No intro, no warning, just Kirk's voice, raw and unfiltered, played over a blurred background. "I told her what she wanted to hear," he said. "Rasheeda wasn't supposed to find out. It was just supposed to keep things calm till I figured everything out." Then a pause, followed by a laugh, cold, almost smug. "Man, women believe anything if you say it soft enough." Within minutes, every gossip page reposted it. Hashtags multiplied. Hashtag Kirk voice note. Hashtag proof he lied. Hashtag Rasheeda desversed K. Michelle's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Her team called to confirm what she already knew. "It's viral," her manager said. "It's everywhere. Twitter, TikTok, even the shade room pinned it." She exhaled slowly. "And now he's finished," she murmured. Rasheeda was sitting at her kitchen table when the clip started looping on TV. She didn't move. Her phone was lighting up nonstop. Friends calling, family texting, bloggers begging for statements. She finally turned the phone face down. No comment. She whispered to herself. Kirk's laughter echoed from the screen, and something in her eyes hardened. No more chances. No more excuses. At that same hour, Kirk was in his car, hands gripping the wheel. He'd just watched the clip on his own feed. His face was blank, but his jaw tight. "That wasn't supposed to get out," he muttered. "That wasn't supposed to." His phone rang again. It was his friend, tone sharp. "Bro, you gotta say something. Go live. Clear it up, deny it, do something." Kirk shook his head. "They already made up their mind. They ain't gonna believe me." "Then make 'em believe." His friend snapped. "You gonna let K. Michelle control your name like that?" Kirk's silence said it all. In another part of Atlanta, Jasmine sat in her car outside a restaurant, scrolling through her phone. Her picture was everywhere, clips of her crying backstage, memes calling her the side chick of the century. She clenched her jaw, opened her notes app, and began typing. "I'm not the villain. I believed someone who lied to both of us." She paused, added one more line. Women like me get blamed for things men start. She posted it to Instagram. Within seconds, her comments section exploded. We hear you, one fan wrote. Another said, you still wrong sis. It didn't matter. The post had started a new wave of debate. Team Jasmine versus Team Rasheeda. The internet was now divided into factions, each defending a different woman. Back at the network offices, producers gathered in a tense emergency meeting. The executive producer slammed her hand on the table. We can't control this narrative anymore. The leak changed everything. An intern spoke up timidly. What if we make it part of the next episode? Fans are hooked. We could film follow-ups, exclusive reactions. Everyone turned to look at her. The producer leaned forward. You mean turn the scandal into a storyline? It already is, the intern replied. And so, within hours, the network drafted a plan, an exclusive aftermath special. Calls went out to Kay, Michelle, Rasheeda, Kirk, and Jasmine. Half said no. The other half said maybe. Only one instantly agreed. Kay Michelle, I'll show up if y'all let me speak first, she said. And don't cut nothing out this time. That night, Kirk tried to reach Rasheeda again. She finally answered, her voice low but firm. What do you want? He hesitated. To fix it, she laughed bitterly. You can't fix what you bragged about, breaking. It wasn't like that, he said quickly. That voice note was old. I ain't mean it like that. You always don't mean it like that, Kirk, she said. And somehow it always ends the same way. Silence filled the line for a long moment before she spoke again. You humiliated me in front of the world. You think I can forget that? I just want to talk, he whispered. We talkin' now, she said, and hung up. Outside, fans gathered outside Frost Bistro, chanting justice for Rasheeda while holding signs. Someone had even printed t-shirts with Kay Michelle's face and the words dropped receipts. Kirk looked out from the upstairs window, shaking his head. This city turned on me overnight, he muttered. His business partner sighed. They didn't turn overnight. They were just waiting for a reason. The next morning, paparazzi spotted Rasheeda walking into a downtown hotel alone. No ring on her hand. Headlines spread instantly. Rasheeda leaves marital home. Bloggers flooded her comments with fire emojis and heart eyes. She stayed silent, letting the images speak louder than any statement could. Meanwhile, Jasmine met up with a reporter from an online gossip show. The interview was tense, emotional, and raw. Did you know he was married? The reporter asked. Jasmine looked straight into the camera. Of course I knew, but I thought it was over. He said they were done. He said he was tired of pretending. Do you regret it? She hesitated, then nodded. Yeah, I regret believing him. When the interview aired, the internet caught fire again. Clips went viral, fans dissecting every line, every expression. Some sympathized, others mocked. One comment summed it up perfectly. Everybody in this story, losing, except Kay Michelle. And speaking of her, Kay Michelle wasn't done. During her own live stream, she held up her phone and said, y'all think I only had screenshots? Nah, I got voice memos, too. But I'm trying to be nice tonight. Her viewers flooded the chat with messages begging her to drop more proof. She smiled slyly. Patience, baby. Y'all gone, get fed soon enough. That night, the Aftermath special began filming. Kirk showed up late, wearing sunglasses indoors, clearly exhausted. Jasmine sat across from him, distant but composed. Kay Michelle arrived next, confident, her team trailing behind her. The producers whispered nervously as Rasheeda's seat remained empty. 10 minutes before taping, the door opened. She walked in, wearing all white, face expressionless. The room went silent. Kirk stood up instinctively, but she didn't look at him. She sat down, crossed her legs, and said, let's finish this. As cameras rolled, the tension was electric. The host began with the voice note scandal. Kirk cleared his throat, trying to sound calm. First off, that clip was taken out of context. I was venting to a friend. Kay Michelle scoffed loudly. You was venting about lying to your wife. That's context enough. Kirk shot her a glare. You don't even know what go on in my marriage. She leaned back. Apparently neither do you. The audience gasped. Rasheeda stayed silent at first, just listening. Then, when Kirk tried to explain himself again, she finally spoke. You always got a story, Kirk. But this time, I'm done reading it. The crowd erupted with applause. Kirk's shoulders slumped. So that's it, he said softly. She nodded. Yeah, that's it. But the real shock came when Jasmine interrupted. Nah, it's not, she said suddenly, standing up. Because I got something to say too. Kirk froze. Rasheeda turned to look at her, confused. What you mean? Jasmine took out her phone, scrolling to a screen recording. This, she said, hitting play. Kirk's voice filled the studio again, this time saying, "If she leaves me, I'm still good. I got back up." Gasps filled the air. Kirk's face drained of color. Rasheeda's lips parted in disbelief. Michelle laughed out loud. "Oh, this just keeps getting better," she said. The host tried to calm the chaos, but the room was spinning with energy. Kirk tried to stand, but security motioned him back to his seat. Jasmine stared at him coldly. "You lied to both of us. Now the world knows who you really are." And with that, the cameras caught what might go down as the most unforgettable moment in reality TV history. Kirk Frost sitting speechless, 3 women standing around him, and a studio full of people witnessing the end of his empire. But even then, no one realized the story wasn't over yet, because the final twist was still waiting to break. The studio was chaos again, louder this time, like everyone had waited years to see this happen. Kirk just sat there, motionless, his jaw tight, eyes darting around like he was searching for a way out. Michelle had leaned forward in her chair, resting her chin on her hand, almost enjoying it. Jasmine stood in the middle of the floor, breathing hard, the phone still in her hand. The audio clip kept replaying through the speakers, that same smug line over and over. "If she leaves me, I'm still good. I got back up." Rasheeda's face didn't change. She didn't cry. She didn't shout. She just stared at Kirk.com in that dangerous way that comes when pain turns into certainty. Finally, she said, "That's who you are. That's who you've always been." Kirk opened his mouth, but no sound came out. "Nah, don't even bother," she said. "You said enough already." The audience was whispering, people on set whispering even louder, phones lighting up as every single moment was clipped and shared online before the show even finished taping. The host, who looked completely drained, tried to restore order. "Okay, let's just take a breath," she said. But Michelle wasn't having it. "Nah, let him breathe in the mess he made," she snapped. This man been lying to everybody, acting like he's Mr. Perfect husband, and now look at him. Kirk's voice cracked. "You don't know what I've been through, Kay. You don't know what kind of pressure I'm under." Rasheeda laughed once, cold and hollow. "Pressure," she said. "You mean the pressure of pretending to be a good man?" The audience gasped again. The camera zoomed in on Kirk's face, sweat, tension, regret all clashing together. Then, for the first time, Jasmine spoke again. Quieter now. "You told me she didn't care about you," she said, eyes locked on Kirk. "You said she was cold. You said you needed someone who actually listened." Rasheeda looked at her, not angry anymore, just tired. "You wanted to believe that because it made you feel special," she said softly. "But the truth is, he just says whatever keeps him comfortable." That silence afterward was heavier than the shouting. Even Michelle didn't say anything. It was one of those moments where everyone knew a line had been crossed that couldn't be undone. The host finally broke it. "Kirk," she said, "is there anything you want to say to your wife?" Kirk took a deep breath, his voice shaking. "I messed up," he said. "I ain't gonna lie no more. I love you, Rasheeda, and I never stopped. I got lost." He reached out, trying to touch her hand, but she pulled away. "Nah," she said quietly. "You didn't get lost. You just kept walking in the wrong direction." Michelle exhaled loudly. "Hugh Chili. That's closure if I ever heard it." The crowd started clapping again, half of them cheering, half just stunned. Jasmine wiped her face with the back of her hand, whispering, "I shouldn't have come here." But Rasheeda shook her head. "Nah, you needed to." "So did I." The director called for a short break, but the cameras didn't stop rolling. Kirk sat hunched over, staring at the floor. His mic was still hot. He whispered, "They gon' destroy me." And that whisper went straight to air. Fans heard it live. Within minutes, screenshots of that line flooded every timeline. "They gon' destroy me." In the control room, producers debated whether to cut the feed, but it was too late. People were watching it unfold in real time. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds, some defending Kirk, saying everyone makes mistakes, others demanding he be removed from the show completely. When they resumed filming, the host asked Michelle how she felt about everything. She smiled. "I feel like the truth finally caught up," she said, "and baby, when the truth show up, it don't knock." Outside the studio, paparazzi and fans were waiting, crowding the parking lot, chanting Rasheeda's name. Security was trying to hold people back, but the noise just kept growing. Reporters shouted questions. "Rasheeda, are you filing for divorce?" "Kirk, are you gonna make a statement?" Michelle, did you leak the voice note yourself?" Rasheeda didn't stop to answer. She walked straight to her car, head high, no tears, no hesitation. Kirk followed behind her, but every time he got close, fans started yelling, "Leave her alone. She don't owe you nothing." Cameras flashed, and in that chaos, she turned once, looked him dead in the eye, and said, "You did this. Remember that?" Then she got in her car and drove off. K. Michelle stood by the exit, arms crossed, watching it all. "Some lessons," she said quietly to her assistant. "You only learn when the whole world's watching." Back inside, Kirk was escorted to his dressing room. He slammed the door and threw his phone across the room. His reflection stared back from the mirror, tired, angry, lost. "They think I'm the villain," he muttered. "They think I don't care." He picked up his phone, scrolled through the chaos online, and saw comment after comment tearing him apart. "You embarrassed her again. He never gone change. Karma don't miss." He scrolled further until he found one message from an unknown number. "You want the real problem to come out? Keep talking." Kirk froze. "What the hell?" he whispered. Meanwhile, Jasmine was in her hotel room watching the rerun of the episode, her phone vibrating nonstop. She turned it face down. The TV played Kirk's apology on loop. She shook her head, whispering, "He always sorry when it's too late." Then her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a voice note from an anonymous sender. She played it. Kirk's voice again. "Don't tell her everything, okay? Some things need to stay buried." Her blood ran cold. She hit record and said, "Nah, Kirk, you buried yourself?" At that exact same time, K. Michelle posted a cryptic story, black background, white text. "Part 2 tomorrow." Fans went insane. Everyone started guessing what else she had. Rumors spread that she had even more audio, possibly from a private phone call. The anticipation grew like wildfire. The next day, the internet exploded again. Clips, edits, remixes, think pieces, everyone had something to say. Kirk tried to post a statement, but within 5 minutes, the comments were brutal. He deleted it. He tried to call Rasheeda again, but her number was disconnected. And that's when the next leak dropped. Another voice note. This time, Kirk wasn't talking to Jasmine, he was talking to someone else entirely, and the voice on the other end sounded shockingly familiar. Fans replayed it over and over trying to make out the sound, but one name started trending instantly. The name that would drag this entire story into another level of chaos. Karlie Redd. The internet erupted. The moment fans realized that the new voice in Kirk's leaked audio belonged to Karlie Redd, everything shifted from scandal to full-blown catastrophe. It wasn't just about lies anymore, it was betrayal spreading through the entire love and hip-hop circle. The audio was grainy but unmistakable. Kirk's voice came first. "You know I can't be seen tucking to you, right?" And then came Karlie's, low, playful, a little too familiar. "Boy, please, you always say that after you already text me first." Within minutes, blogs had dissected every second of it. Kirk Frost caught talking to Karlie Redd behind Rasheeda's back. One headline read, "Karlie denies involvement but the receipts say otherwise," said another. Fans started splicing clips of Karlie and Rasheeda laughing together on old episodes, captioning them with "not the bestie sleeping with the husband." The betrayal hit different because everyone remembered how close they once were. In her home, Karlie stared at her phone, watching the chaos unfold. Her messages were blowing up producers, cast members, even her daughter calling She finally picked up one. It was Yandi, her voice sharp. "Girl, what did you do?" Karlie groaned. "Nothing. That audio's old. That was from years ago when we was all coolin' at Frost Bistro." "Then say that," Yandi warned, "because right now, everybody think you smashed a married man." Karlie jumped to Instagram Live before anyone could advise her otherwise. Her hair was still in rollers, her nails clicking on the table as she talked. "Y'all always trying to drag my name through the dirt. That man been callin' me for business stuffant. Nobody sleeping with Kirk Frost." She waved her phone at the camera like proof. "Don't let them lies fool you." K. Michelle trying to mess up everybody's peace because she mad at the world. But before she could finish, K. Michelle joined the live. Over 50,000 people flooded in instantly. Her face filled the splitscreen.com and unbothered. "Business calls," she said with a little laugh. "Baby, I heard that audio. That didn't sound like no business call." Karlie's mouth dropped open. "Girl, you messy," she shouted. "Why you always in somebody's drama?" K. Michelle tilted her head. "Maybe because y'all keep lying, and I hate lies. If it wasn't true, why you so pressed?" The live ended abruptly when Karlie's phone froze, but the clip had already been saved, reposted, and replayed by thousands. Fans were eating it up. Comments flooded in. K. Michelle been the truth teller all along. Karlie always in somebody's mess. Rasheeda about to lose her mind. Rasheeda hadn't said a word publicly. She was sitting in her living room, scrolling through all the madness in silence. Kirk's face was on every thumbnail, his name in every trending topic. She pressed her temples, whispering, "Every time I think it's over, it gets worse." Her best friend from the boutique called, "Girl, you okay?" Rasheeda laughed weakly. "Define okay." Her friend hesitated. "You seen the new leak?" Rasheeda nodded. "Yeah, I seen it. I ain't surprised." She stood up, pacing slowly. "Carly was always too curious about my business. Now I know why." As she spoke, Kirk was across town in a dark studio, surrounded by his team. He looked worn out, his voice barely above a whisper. "We gotta fix this," he said. "We gotta get ahead of it." His publicist sighed. "There's no fixing this. Kirk, you've been caught too many times. The only move left is silence." "Nah," he said firmly. "I'm not going out like that." He went live on Instagram that night, against everyone's advice. The screen shook as he spoke, clearly nervous. "I know everybody talkin'," he said, "and I know a lot of things sound bad, but me and Rasheeda been through worse. We built this empire together. I made mistakes. Yeah, but all this noise? It's lies mixed with truth, and y'all eatin' it like candy." The comments were brutal. "Boy bye, you caught in 4,000. Admit it." Then someone dropped a bombshell in the live chat. At their a real recips posted another clip. Kirk froze mid. "What clip?" he muttered, scrolling. The new post was from an anonymous account that had been posting all the leaks. This time, it was a text thread. Messages between Kirk and someone saved as QR timestamps, emojis, even the little scene marks. The messages weren't just flirty, they were explicit. "You still thinking about last time?" one said. Another read, "She don't please me like you do." Fans went wild. KR stands for Carly Red. One person wrote, "We knew it." As Kirk's live abruptly cut off, K. Michelle posted a new story. "Didn't I tell y'all it was more?" The internet exploded again. Memes, reaction videos, YouTube breakdowns, every platform lit up. The next day, MTV producers arrived at Rasheeda's house. They wanted to film her reaction for the next special. She opened the door but didn't let them in. "No cameras?" she said. "Not today." The lead producer tried to plead. "Rasheeda, the fans deserve your truth." She gave a faint smile. "They already got enough truth. Let me have my piece." Then she closed the door. Inside, she sat alone for a long time. Finally, she took off her wedding ring, placed it on the coffee table, and whispered, "I tried." Meanwhile, Kirk drove to the Frost Bistro late that night. The restaurant was empty, lights low. He sat at the bar, phone buzzing non-stop. One text caught his eye from Carly Red. "You better fix this, I ain't going down with you." He typed back slowly. Too late. Outside, paparazzi cameras flashed through the glass. Kirk put his head down. For the first time, he didn't have anything to say. But just when everyone thought the story had peaked, another post dropped, this time not from K. Michelle or the anonymous page. It came from a verified account, Rasheeda Frost. Her caption was only 3 words, but it shook Atlanta to its core. "Check the footage." Within minutes, she uploaded a full video security footage from Frost Bistro's VIP room, dated weeks before the reunion taping. Kirk was sitting there, laughing, holding a drink. Across from him, unmistakable under the dim light, was Carly Red. And she wasn't just talking. She was touching his hand, smiling, leaning in close. The internet stopped breathing. The video had no sound, but it didn't need any. Everything was written in their faces. And by the time the clip hit 1 million views, one question echoed across every timeline, podcast, and headline: "How many lies can one man survive before everything he built burns down completely?" The video spread like wildfire, every frame replayed and slowed down, every gesture analyzed like courtroom evidence. Within an hour, every major blog had the same headline: "Rasheeda drops surveillance video. Kirk and Carly caught together at Frost Bistro." Fans didn't even bother to wait for explanations. They declared it final. The marriage is done. The empire is over. The receipts are undefeated. Rasheeda didn't post another word. She didn't need to. Her video said everything. The comment section filled up so fast that Instagram temporarily froze her account. People were calling her a queen for her silence, a legend for her timing. "She waited till he lied one more time before she finished him," one comment said. Another read, "The calmest revenge is the deadliest." Meanwhile, Kirk's phone was vibrating non-stop, lighting up his dark car. He didn't answer any calls. He sat parked outside the same restaurant where the footage was filmed, staring at the entrance like it could somehow explain itself. Finally, he picked up one of the calls. It was his mother. "Boy," she said, her voice low and tired. "What did you do now?" He swallowed hard. "Mama, it's not what it looks like." She sighed. That's the same thing you've been saying for 20 years. Inside Frost Bistro, staff whispered as they cleaned tables. One waitress whispered, "You see the clip? That's right there. That's our table." Another shook her head. "I told them to stop meeting here. You can't hide from security cameras." Across town, Carly Red was losing her mind. She'd gone silent since the footage dropped, her team begging her to turn off her phone. Her publicist shouted from the hallway, "Don't say nothing. Let it die down." But Carly couldn't sit still. She was pacing her living room, muttering, "She really did that. She really dropped footage on me." She grabbed her phone again and went live before anyone could stop her. The screen opened to her face, makeup smeared, voice trembling with anger. "Let me tell y'all something, this all fake. I was at Frost Bistro for a meeting. I've been friends with both of them. Y'all really think I would sneak around like that?" She slammed her hand on the counter. "Nah, I'm tired of being the one y'all blame when these men can't stay loyal." Comments flew in instantly. Some fans believed her, saying Rasheeda set her up. Others laughed, posting side-by-side screenshots of her meeting with Kirk and calling it date night deluxe. One comment got pinned automatically because of engagement. "Carly Red been around since the dinosaurs and still ain't learned loyalty." While Carly ranted, Kirk finally called her. She declined the first time, then answered on the second ring. "Why you let her post that?" She shouted. "You said there were no cameras." Kirk sounded drained, his voice low. "I didn't know she had it. She must have gone through the system." "Well, now my name all over this mess." Carly snapped. "And I ain't talkin' the fall for you." Kirk sighed. "Too late, they already made their minds up." As the night went on, K. Michelle reappeared on social media with a smirk that told everyone she'd been waiting for this moment. She posted a photo of herself holding a mug, captioned, "And I said, receipts don't lie." Within 10 minutes, her comments section blew up. K. Michelle Ben knew. She tried to warn them. This woman is the prophet of Atlanta. The next morning, MTV executives held an emergency call with the cast. The network was panicking, afraid sponsors would back out. "We can't keep airing this kind of scandal without control," one exec said. "We're losing advertisers." Another executive countered, "We're gaining ratings. Views are up 300%. Let it play." The decision was made filming would resume immediately. Producers called everyone. K. Michelle agreed on the spot. Jasmine said maybe. Carly refused. Rasheeda didn't answer. Kirk said only 2 words, "I'm coming." That afternoon, when Kirk showed up on set, people stopped talking mid. He walked in wearing black, no jewelry, no swagger, just quiet exhaustion. The host greeted him cautiously. "You ready to talk about it?" Kirk nodded. "Yeah, I'm ready." The interview began, softly questions about the footage, his marriage, his reputation. Kirk didn't dodge. "Yeah, that was me and Carly," he said, voice steady. "It wasn't what people think, but I can't control what it looks like. I was wrong for even being in that position." The studio audience was silent, waiting for more. Kirk continued. "I've been lying for so long, I forgot what it felt like to just tell the truth. I hurt people who didn't deserve it. I embarrassed my wife, my kids, my name. I can't fix it with words, but I can stop pretending." The clip went viral again, but this time, fans were divided. Some called it redemption, others said it was manipulation. "He only sorry because he got caught," one fan wrote. "He trying to protect Frost Bistro," said another. While Kirk was confessing on camera, Rasheeda was sitting at home, watching it live. Her best friend was next to her, hand on her shoulder. "He sounds sincere," her friend whispered. Rasheeda shook her head slowly. "He always sounds sincere. That's how he keeps people." She turned off the TV. Later that night, Jasmine posted a single tweet. "Apologies mean nothing if your lie's still breathing." It went viral in minutes. K. Michelle retweeted it with the caption, "And that's on truth." The following day, rumors surfaced that Rasheeda had filed paperwork of separation. Not a divorce yet, but enough to make it official that she was done pretending. Gossip outlets flooded with sources close to Rasheeda confirming she'd moved out, focusing on her business, her music, her peace. In Atlanta, fans began visiting Frost Bistro just to take pictures outside, tagging it with crime scene energy. Reviews alternated between mockery and sympathy. One read, "Food's good, but the drama's fresher." As for Carly, she disappeared for a few days, then re-emerged with a teaser, a new single titled Wrong Place. In the trailer, a woman walks into a restaurant to find 2 people betraying her. The scene ends with Carly whispering, "Guess I was just in the wrong place, huh?" Fans couldn't tell if it was art or a confession. Meanwhile, Kirk stayed silent. No posts, no interviews, no appearances. His friends said he'd left the city, maybe gone to Miami for space. One insider claimed he was trying to meet Rasheeda privately to explain everything, but her team shut it down immediately. And then, just when the storm seemed to calm, an anonymous blogger posted a blurred screenshot from a private DM Kirk, messaging another woman only days before the reunion episode aired. The caption said, "He never stopped. He just got quieter." The city buzzed again. Radio hosts laughed about it. "This man ain't learn a thing." Others speculated the DM was fake, but fans didn't care. The story had become bigger than proof. It was now legend, an ongoing saga of love, lies, and receipts. And as Atlanta went to sleep that night, one final post went up on K. Michelle's story. White text over a black screen. The truth always finds new ways to speak. But behind the scenes, producers were already calling her again. Season renewals, new contracts, exclusive specials. They wanted more. Because in TV, chaos isn't the end. It's the beginning of the next storyline. And this one was far from finished. By the time morning hit, Atlanta felt like it was vibrating. You couldn't walk into a salon, a coffee shop, or even a corner store without hearing people argue about Kirk Frost, Carly Red, and Rasheeda. Radio hosts were playing the leaked clips back to back. Fans were calling and crying, laughing, swearing they'd never believe another love and hip-hop man again. Outside Frost Bistro, news vans lined the street. Reporters shouted questions at anyone walking by, desperate for a quote. A waitress, trying to sneak through the crowd, told one camera, "They used to sit at that same table every Friday. You think this just started? Please." That clip aired everywhere by noon. Inside the restaurant, the atmosphere was ghostly. Kirk's brother tried to keep the kitchen running, but half the staff didn't show up. A delivery man whispered, "Man, this place cursed." Kirk, still in Miami, was calling every hour, yelling, "Keep it open. We can't shut down." But it was too late. The scandal had branded the walls. Rasheeda was hundreds of miles away, standing on a beach in Florida with her best friend, sunglasses hiding her face. She wasn't running. She was retreating, breathing. Her phone kept buzzing, offers from talk shows, interview requests, even sponsorships. She declined them all. "I don't need to tell my side," she said quietly, staring at the waves. They already heard enough. Meanwhile, Carly Red wasn't staying silent. She had flown to New York for a club appearance, and before she even hit the stage, she told the DJ, "Run that beat time, sang my piece tonight." The crowd screamed as she grabbed the mic. "They keep trying to drag my name," she said, pacing under the neon lights. "But the truth ain't never been scared of a camera. I didn't betray nobody. I just didn't hide for nobody either." Phones went up instantly, recording every word. The next morning, the clip was trending under hashtag #KARLIE, unfiltered. Back in Atlanta, K. Michelle woke up to another flood of mentions. Her followers were calling her the receipt queen, the truth fairy, even joking that she should host her own show called The Real Receipts of Atlanta. She posted a selfie in her robe, captioned, "Everybody mad at me for telling the truth. But ain't nobody mad at the liars. Make it make sense." The post hit 1 million likes in less than a day. And then came the twist no one expected. Jasmine Washington went live. She hadn't said a word since the reunion fallout, but now she sat in front of a plain white wall. No makeup, eyes tired but steady. "I've been quiet 'cause everybody else been loud," she said. "But I got something to clear up." The chat filled instantly, over 100,000 people watching. "Yeah, Kirk lied," she said. "Yeah, he told me what I wanted to hear. But it wasn't just about him. All y'all laughing like this is entertainment. But that man promised me peace. He told me my baby would have a father that actually showed up. And y'all calling it drama like it's a game." She paused, voice cracking. "I was naive, but I wasn't evil. I believed him, same as everybody else did." She looked into the camera and added, "And before anybody say I'm doing this for clout, baby, I got enough pain to last me a lifetime. I don't need fame to make it heavier." The comments exploded with support. "We hear you, you didn't deserve that. Stay strong, queen." K. Michelle reposted her live with a caption that read, "Real women don't need editing." But what no one knew yet was that MTV producers were already editing a new episode called After the Receipts, Atlanta Reckoning. It would show the aftermath: Rasheeda's silence, Kirk's isolation, Jasmine's confession, and K. Michelle's unshaken composure. They even convinced Carly to agree to one sit-down interview, under one condition: she wanted final approval. On filming day, the tension was unbearable. The set was smaller this time, darker, intimate. Carly was the first to arrive, her expression unreadable. Kirk came next, looking like he hadn't slept in weeks. K. Michelle walked in last, smiling like she'd just stepped into her favorite theater. "We really doing this again?" she said, sitting down. "Good. 'Cause Atlanta ain't finished talking." The host began. "Thank you all for being here. Viewers around the world want to know what happens next." Kirk cleared his throat. "What happens next is, I focus on my family. I hurt a lot of people. I ain't proud, but I can't live an apology forever." Carly crossed her arms. "You said the same thing before that footage dropped." Kirk glanced at her. "And you said you wasn't involved. But here we are." K. Michelle smirked. "Look at y'all. Still pointing fingers when the truth's sitting right between you." The host tried to interrupt, but K. Michelle kept going. "See, everybody mad at me for showing the receipts, but what they forget is, I didn't make them. I just shared 'em. Kirk made 'em. Y'all both lived 'em. I just hit upload." The audience clapped. Even Carly couldn't respond. Then the host asked the one question nobody wanted to touch. "Rasheeda isn't here tonight. Any of you know why?" The room fell silent. Kirk looked down. "She done," he said quietly. "And she got every right to be." For a moment, everyone was quiet. K. Michelle finally nodded. "Then maybe that's the real ending. Not the fight, not the footage, the piece she chose instead." The camera lingered on Kirk's face. He blinked hard, his jaw tightening. The music swelled softly in the background. The credits were about to roll when a producer whispered something to the host. She froze, listening. Then she turned to the cast. "We just got confirmation," she said slowly. Rasheeda Frost agreed to send a message. The screen behind them flickered. Rasheeda appeared, sitting in her studio, calm and poised. "Everybody wants to know how I feel," she began. "Truth is, I feel free. I ain't angry no more. I ain't bitter. I'm just done pretending love means staying where you're hurt." She looked straight at the camera. "Kirk, I wish you peace, but I can't be your peace. That's something you gotta find by yourself." Then she smiled faintly. "And to every woman watching, don't let somebody rewrite your worth just because they're afraid to face theirs." The video ended, and the studio went silent. No applause. No noise. Just that still, heavy quiet that follows something honest. K. Michelle whispered, "That's how you close a chapter." The screen faded to black, and for the first time in a long time, Kirk Frost didn't try to explain anything. He just nodded slowly, whispered "she right," and walked off set. But as the credits rolled, the network's teaser voice came through. Soft and slow. "Next season on Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta. A new chapter begins." And just like that, the cameras kept turning. Because in reality TV, the truth never ends. It just finds a new angle. After the credits rolled, the world didn't move on. It never does. The story had grown its own heartbeat, pulsing through every gossip feed, podcast, mic, and late-night radio show. Even the Atlanta skyline seemed quieter that week, like the whole city was still listening for what might happen next. 3 days later, a new post appeared on Rasheeda's Instagram. Not a selfie, not a caption, just a short black and white video of her in the studio, laying vocals over a slow piano beat. The lyrics were soft but sharp. "You can't love me and hide me at the same time." It hit 1 million views in 2 hours. Fans flooded the comments. The comeback anthem, Queen Energy only. She turned pain into platinum. Meanwhile, Kirk stayed quiet until a photographer caught him leaving an office downtown. The photo showed him carrying a folder labeled legal counsel. Rumors erupted instantly. Some said he was fighting to keep Frost Bistro. Others swore he was filing for reconciliation. Either way, the internet was split between forgiveness and finality. Backstage in New York, K. Michelle was doing interviews for her new single when a reporter asked, "Do you think Rasheeda and Kirk will ever reconcile?" She tilted her head, smiling faintly. "Reconcile," she said. "Baby, sometimes love ain't supposed to circle back. Sometimes it's supposed to teach you who not to be." Carly read, determined not to fade from the headlines. Posted a teaser for a reality-style documentary titled Clearing My Name. The trailer opened with her sitting in a confessional chair, saying, "Everybody got footage but nobody got the full picture." The blogs ran wild again, asking whether she'd reveal more about that night at Frost Bistro. Jasmine, on the other hand, deleted her social media. She was spotted weeks later volunteering at a youth center. A local reporter asked her why she stepped away from fame. She said, "The cameras gave me attention, not peace. I choose peace." Her words went viral, and within hours, fans were calling her the quiet redemption. But then, because drama never sleeps, a new account surfaced on Twitter under the handle @real. It posted one sentence: "There's another video you haven't seen." Attached was a 10-second clip of Kirk arguing with someone off-screen in a parking lot. His voice was unmistakable. Delete that right now. Don't you dare post that. No one knew who filmed it, or when. Theories flooded in. Some said it was a crew member. Others said it was someone from Kirk's own circle. The network stayed silent. But fans knew when silence hits reality TV, something bigger is brewing. By the end of the week, billboards went up across Atlanta. Love and Hip Hop, Atlanta Truth Season in bold red letters. Beneath it, the tagline read, "Every receipt has a sequel." In the preview that followed, flashes of new scenes appeared. K. Michelle sitting across from Rasheeda in a candlelit lounge. Jasmine walking into a church. Carly Red shouting during a confessional. And Kirk alone at the Frost Bistro bar, whispering, "You think I'm the only one with secrets?" The trailer ended with Rasheeda's voice, soft but certain. When truth burns everything down, you either run from the ashes or build something new. And as the screen faded to black, Atlanta braced itself again, because in that city, scandals don't end. They evolve, they remix, they resurrect. And somewhere, off camera, the next leak was already uploading. The night before the Truth season premiere, Atlanta was restless again. Downtown streets were packed with film crews, influencers, and fans lining up outside a rooftop lounge where MTV was hosting the launch party. Giant screens looped the trailer all night. Rasheeda's calm voice against Kirk's frantic one. K. Michelle's smirk cutting through every frame. Even the skyline seemed to glow red, like the city itself was gossiping. Inside the venue, the atmosphere was tense. Everyone who'd survived the chaos of the last season was there except Rasheeda. K. Michelle arrived first. Dazzling in a glittering gown, phone in hand, already "They say Atlanta can't handle another storm," she said to the camera, smiling. "Well baby. The thunder already rolled in." Jasmine showed up quietly. No entourage, no drama, just a simple black dress and confidence that looked earned, not borrowed. Reporters called out her name, asking if she'd speak to Kirk tonight. She gave one small shake of her head. "Ain't nothing left to say to him," she said softly, then walked inside. Then Kirk arrived. The flashes were blinding. Fans screamed, some cheering, others booing. He wore all black, his expression unreadable. He paused at the entrance, scanning the crowd like a man walking into a storm he knew he'd caused. Carly Red was already at the bar, sipping champagne and pretending not to notice him, though everyone could tell she was watching. As the press lights dimmed and the screening started, the first episode hit harder than anyone expected. The opening scene was pure silence footage of Rasheeda alone in her studio, editing vocals, her ring finger bare. Then a montage rolled. Kirk pacing in his empty restaurant. K. Michelle recording another interview. Jasmine donating toys to kids. Carly rehearsing for her docuseries. And then came the shocker. Halfway through the episode, new footage appeared, security camera audio that hadn't been aired before. Kirk's voice again, angry this time. "You don't understand, they can't know who really sent the first video." Then a second voice. Male, low, familiar. "You started this, not me." Fans screamed online, trying to decode it. By the time the credits rolled, the hashtag who sent the video was trending worldwide. Back at the premiere, people were whispering furiously. K. Michelle leaned forward in her seat, grinning. "I told y'all there was more." Jasmine frowned, clutching her purse. Kirk sat still, jaw tight, eyes darting to the exit. And that's when the host stepped onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "we have one more clip, never before seen footage from the reunion taping." The lights dimmed again. The screen flickered, showing a behind-the-scenes angle of that chaotic night months ago. Kirk was off camera, talking to someone in a hallway. "Just make sure it drops the same night," he said. "If people turn on me, I'll leak the rest myself. I control the story." Gasps filled the room. Jasmine covered her mouth. Carly muttered, "No way." K. Michelle whispered, "You see? He leaked his own downfall." The clip ended. The lights came back up. Kirk stood up instantly, sweating, hands shaking. "That's fake," he shouted. "That's edited." But the room had already turned. Reporters rushed him, flashes popping. "Did you leak the receipts yourself? Were you trying to frame K. Michelle? Was this all for publicity?" Kirk tried to push through the crowd. But K. Michelle's voice cut through the chaos. "Funny how the truth always sounds fake when it finally catches up." The live feed went crazy. Every gossip page, every fan account, every blog was on fire again. He leaked his own scandal. The whole thing was a setup. Did Kirk play everybody? Within hours, Carly Red posted a video from her car, laughing. "You see, I told y'all, I wasn't the messy one this time." Atlanta's biggest liar finally caught in his own web. Her caption read, Hashtag karma, AINT late. Rasheeda, however, didn't post. Instead, her team released a press statement. Mrs. Frost will not be returning to Love and Hip Hop Atlanta this season. She wishes everyone peace, growth and accountability. It was short, professional, final and, somehow more powerful than all the chaos. But MTV wasn't letting the fire die. Within 24 hours, they announced a 3-part follow-up special called The Frost Files. The trailer promised to reveal who Kirk was really talking to in that hallway. The final frame showed a blurred silhouette male, tall, laughing. The voice said, "Atlanta ain't ready for what's next." The internet went feral with theories. Was it a producer? A rival artist? A family member? And while the world argued, Kirk disappeared again. No posts, no appearances, no statements. Until, one night, a private clip surfaced online. Grainy, shaky, filmed in a car. Kirk, voice low and tired, speaking into the camera. "They think they know the truth, but they only seen what I wanted them to see. The real story. That's still loading." And with that, the screen went black. Atlanta woke up to chaos again. Hashtag the real story was trending. Fans said he was teasing his own docuseries. Others swore it was his last attempt to control the narrative. But one comment summed up the city's exhaustion best. "We don't even want closure anymore. We just want peace." And yet peace never trends. So the saga rolled on, louder than ever. Another week, another leak, another lie waiting for its spotlight. By the time the Frost Files trailer finished its 3rd day on air, Atlanta had turned into one giant rumor mill. Every talk show, every podcast, every breakfast drive segment had the same question. Who was Kirk talking to in that hallway? The network milked the mystery like it was gold. Promos ran every hour, each one ending with that same distorted laugh echoing over the words "The truth returns." Downtown, posters for the special covered every bus stop. Kirk's shadowed face on one side, Rasheeda's calm profile on the other. The tagline read, "Two sides, one empire in ruins." Fans lined up outside MTV studios days before the premiere, some holding homemade signs, "Team Rasheeda Forever," Kirk finally exposed, and a few that said simply, "Drop the full footage." Inside a quiet suite at the W Hotel, Kirk sat with his manager, staring at a laptop screen looping the same clip again and again. His reflection looked hollow. "They mackin' me out like the villain in a movie," he said finally. His manager leaned forward. "You gave them the script, Kirk. They just shot it better." Meanwhile, Rasheeda was already out of town again. She'd rented a cabin 2 hours north, far from Atlanta's noise. The only sound around her was wind and birds. Her phone sat face down on the table beside a cup of untouched coffee. When her friend called asking if she'd seen the new teaser, Rasheeda just said, "No, I stopped watching reruns of my own heartbreak." Back in the city, Michelle was recording at the studio when she got a call from a producer. "You saw the leaks?" he asked. "People say the voice in that clip sounded like Stevie J." Michelle laughed. "Child, this show don't need another man in the mix, but if that's true, oh, Atlanta ain't ready." A few hours later, Stevie J went live from Miami. "Y'all stop dragging my name into Kirk's circus," he said, grinning. "But since y'all so curious, yeah, I know things. And when the time's right, I'll say 'em." He winked, ending the live abruptly. The internet exploded. By nightfall, hashtags collided. Hashtag the Frost Files, hashtag Stevie knows, hashtag RASHEEDA deserves peace. Fans were calling the situation the Atlanta Web, claiming everyone from producers to ex-cast members was involved. Then came premiere day. Cameras flooded the MTV lobby. Carly Red strutted in first, dripping in diamonds, declaring to the press, "I'm here to watch the end of a man who thought he was untouchable." Michelle followed in a red silk dress, calm, confident, eyes sharp. Jasmine didn't show up. Rasheeda wasn't expected. Kirk came last, quiet, dressed in gray. The special began. Episode 1 opened with Kirk sitting alone in a dark room. No intro music, just his voice. "I know what they say about me. I earned some of it, but what y'all don't know, what nobody knows is who been feeding them leaks this whole time." He looked straight into the camera. It wasn't Michelle. It wasn't Jasmine. It wasn't even a woman. The audience gasped. The screen cut to black. Then a slow reveal, a security timestamp. Footage of Kirk in that same hallway, talking to a tall man in a baseball cap. When the man turned toward the camera, the crowd screamed. It was Scrappy. Twitter lost its mind. Hashtag Scrappy set up. Kirk trended immediately. In the footage, Kirk said, "So you sent it?" Scrappy replied, "Nah, I passed it along. You told me to. Said you needed buzz before the reunion. Now look, you got a whole hurricane." Kirk's face froze, realizing what that confession meant on air. Cut back to present-day Kirk, watching the footage in real time. He clenched his fists. "I ain't never told him to post it," he said. "I told him to hold it." "Somebody edited that clip," the host interrupted. Scrappy declined to appear but sent a written statement confirming the leak came from Kirk's phone. The audience erupted again. Kirk stood up, shouting, "Nah, they twisting this? Y'all don't care about truth, y'all care about ratings." Michelle leaned over, voice calm. "Baby, you gave them both." He stormed off the set. Cameras followed him into the hallway where he ripped off his mic, shouting, "I'm done with this show." The producer tried to stop him, saying, "You can't leave, we still filming." But Kirk pushed through the door and disappeared into the night. The next morning, Atlanta woke to headlines calling it the most explosive episode in Love and Hip Hop history. But the biggest shock came later that afternoon when Rasheeda finally broke her silence. She posted a simple image of sunrise over water and beneath it, her caption read, "Truth don't destroy you. Lies do." Within an hour, Frost Bistro's official page quietly changed its bio from family-owned restaurant to Rasheeda Frost's Kitchen. Fans flooded the comments with praise. The Queen reclaimed her empire. She built it, she keeps it. By the weekend, Kirk's name had vanished from the business license edit. The city records showed new ownership, and while Atlanta celebrated her quiet victory, MTV dropped one last teaser for part 2 of The Frost Files. The screen showed Kirk sitting in a recording booth, eyes red, voice shaking. "If y'all think I'm done talkin'," he said, "wait till you hear what she kept." The trailer ended with static and Rasheeda's name flashing across the screen. The internet froze. Again, and just like that, the story looped back where it started, not with peace, not with closure, but with a promise that in Atlanta, no secret stays buried long enough to die. The night the teaser dropped, Atlanta didn't sleep. Bars stayed open late, screens in every corner looping Kirk's last words, "Wait till you hear what she kept." Fans dissected every syllable. Twitter threads ran wild. Some said Rasheeda had her own recordings. Others believed Kirk was bluffing for sympathy. But the quietest theory, the one that spread fastest, was that Rasheeda had kept every message, every call, every hidden file that Kirk thought was gone. By morning, paparazzi staked out her boutique. When she arrived, dressed in beige with oversized shades, they shouted questions. "Rasheeda, is it true you have more receipts? Are you releasing them on MTV?" She didn't answer. She only smiled faintly and said, "Truth don't need a premiere date." Meanwhile, Kirk was holed up in a studio outside the city, walls covered with storyboards and timelines. His old friend, a producer from early Love and Hip Hop days, sat across from him. "You really think she kept M?" the man asked. Kirk rubbed his temples. "She got everything. Old voicemails, texts, contract stuff I forgot even existed." The producer exhaled. "Then you better tell your side first." Kirk looked up, eyes dark. "Nah, not yet. Let her go first. I want the world to see what silence really means." The next day, MTV dropped the second episode of The Frost Files. The opening shot was quiet, just Rasheeda sitting in her boutique after hours, surrounded by empty racks and dim lights. Her voice came through soft, tired, steady. "I kept everything. Yeah, not to hurt him, but because when you love somebody who lies, you start keeping proof just to stay sane." Then the screen cut to footage of her phone being scrolled, dozens of audio files labeled with dates. A producer asked off camera, "You want to play one?" Rasheeda hesitated, then nodded. A voice note played. Kirk's voice, faint but clear. "Don't post nothin' about the restaurant yet. She thinks it's joint, but I put it in my name first." The audience gasped. The blogs lit up again. Kirk took control of Frost Bistro behind Rasheeda's back. The next clip was worse. Another voice note, this time Kirk whispering to someone else, "If she ever leaves, just move the money to the Miami account. She won't look there." The studio erupted. Michelle, watching from her dressing room, clapped her hands once, laughing in disbelief. "Girl, she ain't drop receipts, she dropped evidence." Within hours, social media was chaos again. Hashtag Miami account trended, followed by hashtag Frost exposed and hashtag RASHEEDA wins. Old castmates started chiming in. Erica Mena tweeted, "Been told y'all the men in that city got no loyalty." Yandi reposted Rasheeda's clip with, "Protect your name like you protect your brand." Even Cardi B commented under a reposted video, "Sis handled it classy. I would've flipped a table." While the internet celebrated Rasheeda's composure, Kirk was losing control. The studio phone wouldn't stop ringing. Sponsors were pulling back. Frost Bistro's investors threatened to back out. Kirk slammed his laptop shut, pacing. They painting me like the devil, he shouted. His friend said quietly, maybe stop giving them brushstrokes. Later that night, he posted a video on his Instagram stories. No filters, no music, just Kirk, eyes red, voice raw. Yeah, I made mistakes, he said, but this show turned my life into a headline. Half what y'all hearing is chopped up. I ain't stealing from nobody, that money was for us. She just didn't know it yet. Fans didn't buy it. Within minutes, his comments filled with snake emojis and fire reactions. That's not love. That's control. She built the empire. You played yourself. The next morning, Rasheeda broke her silence again through her music. She dropped a surprise track titled Locked Files. The first verse hit like a confession. And direct. You built a house on secrets. Then blamed me when it fell, / I kept the keys. Now I'm ringing every bell. The chorus cut deep. Truth got timestamps, baby. Yours just ran out. The song went viral instantly. Fans called it her best work in years. The video shot in her boutique showed her walking through the same aisles once shared with Kirk, closing the lights one by one until only she remained, as her single climbed charts. Kirk's phone buzzed again, this time from MTV. They wanted one final sit-down before airing the last episode. He hesitated, then agreed. But this time, he said, I bring my own footage. When the finale aired, the room was packed. Kirk sat across from the host, a folder on the table. You said she kept files, the host said. So did you? Kirk nodded. Yeah, and y'all ain't ready. He opened the folder, revealing screenshots of emails between producers and editors. The host frowned. What's this? Kirk's voice hardened. Proof this whole scandal was staged. They leaked the clips to boost ratings. They fed stuff to K. Michelle, they edited calls. They built a villain 'cause it sells. The audience gasped again. The host's earpiece buzzed producers, scrambling backstage. Kirk slammed the papers down. They played all of us. Even her. The screen cut abruptly to black. Then MTV's disclaimer appeared. Due to legal review, portions of this episode have been removed. Fans lost their minds. Was Kirk telling the truth? Did MTV stage the receipts? Who really leaked everything? Outside, paparazzi caught Rasheeda leaving her studio that same night. One shouted, Kirk says the network set y'all up. Any comment? She stopped, turned slightly, and said, no one can fake who you are when the cameras turn off. Then she walked away. 2 days later, K. Michelle went live again, sipping coffee. So now we blaming the editors, she said, laughing. Listen, lies don't need lighting. If it came out your mouth, it's yours. By week's end, the Frost Files finale broke every MTV viewership record in 5 years. But the real story had already slipped beyond television. Bloggers claimed a streaming service was negotiating rights for the real Frost Empire. A documentary produced by an anonymous insider. And somewhere in Atlanta, Kirk sat in his car again, watching his own reflection in the black screen of his phone. They think they won, he murmured. Then he smiled faintly, almost to himself. But I still got one more tape. And just like that, Atlanta buzzed back to life. Because in that city, truth is never the end, just the start of the next season. If you've been holding your breath through this entire story, wondering what comes next, take a second. Because this kind of chaos only happens once in a generation. K. Michelle, Rasheeda, Kirk Frost, Jasmine, Carly read every name in this saga carved its own mark into Atlanta's wildest chapter yet. But this isn't just gossip anymore. It's about betrayal that got televised, love that turned into headlines, and the receipts that outlived every apology. You saw it all unfold. The fake smiles at Frost Bistro, the midnight phone calls, the voice notes nobody was supposed to hear, the footage that flipped the internet upside down. Fans watched lives fall apart in real time. Man, somehow, the story kept breathing. But the question that keeps everyone glued to the screen is the same. Who's telling the truth? And who's still acting? Because after every leaked clip, every interview, every live stream meltdown, you start realizing that Atlanta's drama isn't just filmed, it's lived. The tears, the lies, the revenge, it's all part of something bigger. And right now, you're part of it too. So before you scroll away or tap off this video, think about everything you just witnessed. Kirk Frost's empire didn't crumble overnight, it cracked piece by piece, every time he chose silence over honesty. Rasheeda didn't just walk away, she rose from the ashes. Like someone who finally realized her worth was never attached to a man's mistakes. Jasmine didn't fall apart, she evolved. And K. Michelle, she didn't start the fire, she just made sure everyone saw the smoke. But this is where you come in. This story doesn't end here unless you say it does. If you believe Rasheeda made the right move, drop Team Rasheeda in the comments. If you think Kirk still deserves a chance to speak his truth, say Team Redemption. Or if you're just here for the drama, type ATL Unfiltered and let the world know you're locked in for the next round. Make no mistake, this saga's next twist is already loading. Rumors say another unseen recording exists, one that could rewrite everything we thought we knew. Some say it's Kirk's final attempt to clear his name. Others whisper it's Rasheeda's private confessions, something she recorded before walking out for good. Whatever it is, one thing's certain. The next leak is going to break the internet all over again. So if you think you've heard the last of the Frost Files, you're wrong. This story is far from over. Because in Atlanta, the truth never fades, it just changes address. And the people who live inside it, they keep finding new ways to survive. Every camera, every mic, every phone, still waiting to record the next truth bomb. Kirk's silence isn't peace, it's preparation. Rasheeda's calm isn't Rasheeda's strategy. NK. Michelle's smirk. That's not satisfaction. It's a promise that there's more to come. Now, if you've been riding with us through this entire roller coaster, it's your turn to keep the conversation alive. Don't just watch the drama, be part of the audience that makes it go viral. Hit that like button, turn your notifications on, and subscribe right now. Because when the next leak drops, you'll want to be the first to see it. Comment your take below. Who's really guilty? Who's really lying? Was Kirk the master manipulator, or just another man lost in his own storyline? Should Rasheeda forgive, forget, or fight back with her next single? And what about K? Michelle, truth teller or opportunist? Every opinion matters. Because this channel isn't just telling stories, it's building Atlanta's digital courtroom, where every fan gets a voice. You've seen how fast this drama moves. One night, Kirk's denying it all. The next morning, there's a new clip, a new rumor, a new betrayal. That's how love and hip-hop works. It never sleeps. It just waits for the next explosion. So if you're ready for more exclusives, unseen footage, and breakdowns of every hidden clue, hit that bell and stay tuned. This channel is where Atlanta's secrets breathe first. Because what started as a simple scandal turned into a movement. People aren't just talking about Kirk and Rasheeda anymore, they're talking about what it means to stay, to leave, to rebuild. They're asking what loyalty looks like when cameras are watching. What forgiveness feels like when the whole world has receipts. It's messy, it's painful, it's real, and that's why it keeps trending. And here's the truth. The next chapter's already being filmed. Someone's talking, someone's leaking, someone's about to make a move that changes everything again. The streets say it's coming from a name no one expects, a friend turned whistleblower. A producer with guilt, maybe even a castmate ready to cash in on the truth. Whatever it is, it's coming fast. So don't miss the moment it breaks. Subscribe right now to stay locked in with the only channel bold enough to bring you every twist, every secret, and every betrayal straight from Atlanta's heart. This isn't just entertainment, it's survival, pride, and truth tangled in one explosive story. And remember, every like, every comment, every share keeps the story alive. The more we talk, the louder it gets. And when it gets loud enough, the people hiding in silence finally have to speak. So before you go, hit that thumbs up if you're still on Team Rasheeda. Drop A if you think Kirk's next move will backfire. And tag a friend who lives for this kind of tea. Because when that final tape drops, and it, you'll want them sitting next to you, ready to watch the empire rise or finally fall for good. This is Atlanta. This is legacy. This is truth with a spotlight. And if you've made it this far, you're already part of the story. Stay tuned, stay watching, and remember, the receipts might fade, but the truth never does. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you when the next secret surfaces. Because in this world, peace is temporary, but drama is forever.